It's easy to hear your favorite artist on WFPK from wherever you are. Listen on your smart speaker, live stream from our website at WFPK.org from Louisville Public Media.
Can you hear me?
Consequence Podcast Network. Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks so much, as always, for making your way here and checking out the episode. Please do hit the subscribe button. I put out 3 new interviews every single week. That's a new one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover some new ones. Of course, you can do so at all the usual spots like iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Acast, Podchaser, NPR, YouTube for the video versions, or anywhere you get your podcast from. Subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. That's me. I'm Kyle Meredith. Today, I get to talk with Alyssa Milano. She has a brand new Netflix movie called Brazen. This is adapted from a Nora Roberts book, and it just came out this past week. And she's going to tell us about its themes of empowering women, as well as how the movie ties in with the popularity of true crime and why that genre seems to make such a big impression with women, having it arrive during the MeToo era and what it offers to that conversation, and how much of her real self she allows in her characters, especially when you consider that she is also an activist. And then Alyssa also speaks on her 80s sitcom, Who's the Boss?, how it was ahead of its time, especially when it came to feminism, equality, and equity. And we also get to talk about the opportunities that art, music, and movies actually get to further progress social issues even more than politicians. And then from there, we actually have a little bit of fun talking about her late 80s, early 90s albums and music videos. Yes, she was a pop star as well as being in the audience of the 90s sketch show, Mr. Show, and the possibility if there will be a sequel to Brazen. So let's do it. It's Kyle Meredith with Alyssa Milano.
Hello.
Let me send you the congratulations on Brazen, out now on Netflix. I mean, what a fun watch that was. Congratulations on this.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm very proud of it. It's a fun movie. We shot in the middle of COVID, so it was quite the experience. But I think the film is really fun and a great watch. Thank you.
Yeah. So this comes from a Nora Roberts book first. How did it land in your lap? What did it say to you? And why did you choose not only to star in it, of course, but you're also a producer on this?
I'm a huge Nora Roberts fan. I've wanted to bring one of her characters to life for a long time. And the script came in, I thought it was really good. And I went back and read the book. And then I met with the director, Monica Mitchell, who I was really taken by. And we were on the same page with how important it was for women to watch this movie and feel empowered and make it not feel exploitive. And so then I had this conversation with Nora Roberts, and that was, I was completely starstruck and taken by her. And I said something to her that I think basically shaped how I looked at Grace and how I approached the role and made it even more exciting, which was, I asked her, what can you tell me about this character that's not on the page, either in the book or the script? Like, give me something about her. And she said, Grace is the type of girl that'll jump up on a counter and drink a beer out of a bottle and have a slice of pizza. And I thought, you know what? I can run with that. And it just, I don't know, it just made her really human. And I just wanted to tell the story. So, yeah.
Well, especially as you talk about the importance of women seeing it. I was watching with my wife, and she, like so many people, is a huge fan of true crime and how that genre has exploded in the past few years. I was asking her recently, why is it that women are so drawn to that genre, seemingly at least, more than men? And she said, a very obvious answer too is like, this is the stuff that we have to deal with every day to some degree, this kind of fear and everything. And it sounds like that was at least some part of what you were thinking as you approached this, was it?
For sure. But I also think that there is, you know, a statement about toxic masculinity. There's a statement about, you know, women sort of taking control of their own life. There's a statement about how we don't take responsibility or protect the most vulnerable. So it was all of that. But I think that also the fascination with true crime is that, you know, it kind of taps into that darkness that I think everybody can, that everybody has in them. But some of us have this, you know, important ability to nurture our goodness, and then some people don't. And so I think it's like a combo of all of that. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think that there's intrigue to the human psyche. And I think as women, we're natural profilers because, yeah, we have to deal with that stuff all the time. Like we're able to clock dudes and be like, oh, okay, I need to walk across the street.
Right. There's it reminded me of a song, a Courtney Barnett song that says almost exactly that stuff in it right there. But it does, it comes, you know, at sort of this perfect moment too. And I know for a lot of artists, you know, that's one of the hope that your work, in this sense, your film, is reflective of what's happening in society right now. But for it to arrive right now, I think it said so much more than maybe it possibly could have at any other time.
Well, it definitely said more than it was originally written as, because I mean, you know, as brilliant as Nora is, she couldn't have foreseen how the MeToo movement would shape our art and culture and society, but also, you know, the working experience on a set. We were 50% women on this movie, in front of and behind the screen, and that's a big deal. That's completely shifting the perspective of storytelling.
And there's a moment right at the beginning, not in a bad way, I almost had a chuckle because we're getting just a little bit of the peek into your character. Your character Grace had just finished the book reading and the signings and all that, and you do a few lines about some of the stuff that you're talking about right now, toxic masculinity, and I thought, you know, that's suddenly a little peek into what I thought was the real you, or the version, I should say, that we get to see on social media, as much as the real you as you allow right there. How much of yourself did you put into this character in those moments? Like, what is there much of a crossover?
I think there's always a crossover for me. Even in the characters that I play that are much more of characters like Coralie from Insatiable. I think, you know, for me, I'm not really a good enough actor to completely separate myself from what's happening. And I think that there always has to be something that is relatable to my own life and experience and belief system. And I think, you know, if you look at, I was thinking about the other day how like the last season of Insatiable, there's this whole storyline about how Coralie gets pregnant and has this whole sort of, you know, personal journey about that nobody is going to force her to have this baby. And of course, we shot in Georgia during the heartbeat bill ban trying to get passed. And so I think, you know, I think that there's always going to be bits that either writers pick up on and include, or that I insist on, that, you know, is going to reflect sort of where we are, not only because I think it's important, and there's nothing better as a conversation starter than movies and TV and art, but also because, like, what a great timestamp. Do you know what I mean? Like, to look back, you know, if people watch this movie, well, it's, you know, the same thing with Who's the Boss. If you look at Who's the Boss, and this was before, you know, obviously I was an activist, or right when I was young. If you watch like the early episodes, there's scenes where Tony's like, yeah, this is a nice house, but you could have this too, Sam, if you work hard. You know, and there is so much about equality and equity And it was really ahead of its time for that. So I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. But I think there's always going to be part of, you know, the work that I do. And by the way, that could be in front or behind the camera as a producer, that, you know, I want to start these conversations. I want to have these conversations. And I think because we're so politically divided, sometimes these conversations are better in the form of art or music or movies or television than having any politician or speech or you know, political leader trying to convince us of an ideology. I just think it's a healthier way to broach these issues.
Absolutely. I can honestly say that most of, especially my coming of age years, you know, my eyes were opened because of the things you're saying right now, because of movies, because of television, because of music, especially for me. And let me put that side note in there to say, while I have the chance, that I so appreciate these things that you do say, both in your work, but especially in the real world lately with voting rights and ending the filibuster, as we're talking about now, but just whatever the issue is, like what you're doing is so important out there. So a little side compliment there.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. You know, it can be scary to be vocal, but I really, you know, comments like that coming from people like you makes it all worth it. So thank you.
I know we only have a minute or two right here. I just want to quickly ask, because we brought up music, and it only dawned on me as I was doing the research, I'd completely forgot that you had put out albums back in the day. And yeah. I was dismayed to see that they were not on any of the streamers at any of the, except for YouTube. Will those ever have a life?
There are some great music videos on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not on any of the music streamers. I don't even know like who's still. I don't know if Pony Canyon Records still exists or what, but you know, it was a whole other career that was really, really fun.
We were listening to some of the songs on YouTube last night. I remember hearing some of them somewhere in my past. It was fun. I mean, they're of an era just with the production naturally, but yeah, you know, we had a little dance party.
The bubblegum pop era with Tiffany and Debbie Gibson and all of that. Yeah.
Right. There was another moment in your filmography that we did a double take for too. And I hope you don't mind me asking, Mr. Show, were you in Mr. Show?
I don't even remember. I think I was in the audience.
Right. That's what it says, audience, but it was like, okay.
Yeah, I went to see a taping. I don't know why that would show up on my IMDb, unless they cut to me maybe in the audience. And then someone was like, oh, we're going to put this in our IMDb. But yeah, I never did a skit or anything for it.
That's a shame. One of these days, maybe. That's
Oh my God, I loved Mr. Show.
It was so good. It really was so good.
Good. So smart.
Well, I'll end with this. There's the very maybe unintentionally or maybe intentionally funny line in this movie with Brazen, where once isn't going to be enough, where I said, wait, is that what he really said? And it turns out not only do you get that line once, but twice, which sort of leaves all of this open for a sequel. And I won't give anything away of what we're talking about here, but is that door open? Is this Grace and Sam Page's character, might we see more of them in the future?
I mean, we didn't think about it while we were making it. I mean, we obviously thought that was a sexy line for a dude to say, but you know, so many people have brought it up that have seen the movie that maybe they're all keen or you know, they all know more than I do. I don't know. Maybe I'm certainly open to it. I think that there is a, you know, a good, first of all, I love working with Sam, and I will find something else to do if it's not continuing this Brazen storyline. But you know, I think there's something interesting about the crime author and the detective working together.
Well, you make a good team. Your characters definitely make a good team. Congratulations on this one, Alyssa. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk about it too. This was a real pleasure.
Thank you so much for the opportunity and the support.
And my thanks, Alyssa Milano, Again, the new Netflix movie is called Brazen. Big thanks to you as well for checking out the episode. Again, please do hit the subscribe button before you get out of here so you can keep up with 3 brand new interviews every single week that we offer. A new one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Acast, Podchaser, NPR, YouTube for the video versions, or again, anywhere you get your podcast from. Subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. Then after that, head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. That's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, and bonus interviews. Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, mostly on Twitter, but also Instagram and Facebook, all 3 of them at Kyle Meredith. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time. Consequence Podcast Network.
Bye.
It's easy to hear your favorite artist on WFPK from wherever you are. Listen on your smart speaker, live stream from our website at WFPK.org, from Louisville Public Media.